So yeah, here we are. We are back from our various hiatuses, hiatusi. What? How do we describe this?
Um,
Hiati.
Attorney's hiatus.
Hiati. God, that just sounds like I'm saying I hate stuff. um, yeah, here we are. We are back from our hiatus. And we are surrounded by wonderful, wonderful human beings. Leah's here, Allie's here, Faye is back after partying with the Drangir, it looks like. Um, and here we are. So we're gonna dive into the fun here. Yeah, thank you. We are going to kick things off. We're gonna talk about a certain Star Wars TV show that had some images come out recently. And then we're going to dive into a little bit more of Star Wars news. And then we're going to talk about con season and especially San Diego Comic Con and how that was, well, it was a thing. It was,
I had a
it happened.
wonderful time.
I'm glad that you had a good time, though. I'm glad that you had a good time. Last week we were not here as I was at shore leave, and I'll talk about that here as we get into it. But first, let's dive into a little show called Neil and Their Crew. I mean, a Skeleton Crew. Sorry, it's Skeleton Crew. Um, Allie, I brought you on to talk about this one
Oh wow.
because
Okay.
I know that you're excited about this.
Do we have a representative of
Yes.
Neil Nation here?
We have invented Neil Nation.
Yes.
Hashtag
We-
Neil Nation. We need Neil Nation and Nubs Nation to come together.
I feel like the little blue guys. We can add in Max Rebo fans. There needs to be an alliance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, StarWars.com shows us the first look stills at Skeleton Crew. I don't know if we can show these because it's from the Star Wars website, but I mean, I could share my screen real quick.
I mean, they're released to
Yeah.
the public, so I think it's
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's
okay.
did.
public.
They did. They did. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, that's a good one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, it's been a while since I've shared my screen here. Let's do this. Share screen. There we go. And here we go. The first look at Skeleton Crew. As you can see here, we've got sexy Dumbledore, according to some people. Or
No.
I call
Oh my
him
god,
Jude Law.
it's great the locked tomb reference with
Yeah,
Jod.
yeah. I'm
Oh
sorry, I
yeah.
shouldn't have said the other thing. I apologize. Um, but here we've got our
Neil.
little boy, blue
The
boy
best.
Neil, and then we have other cast members here. Um, yeah, this is a pretty cool still where we see them on the Skeleton Crew ship, and they said that with this show it's going to feel kind of like the Goonies and Stranger Things and all that fun stuff.
Kids on bikes.
Yeah, kids on bikes.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about this?
I love that.
Yes.
It's going to be a good reminder for everyone that Star Wars is for kids.
Yeah.
It's always been for kids.
Yeah,
If you want
This-
grittier
yeah.
Star Wars, I mean, well, Acolyte was probably great for you, but also like it's
Andor.
meant to be for kids. And Andor, yeah.
Yeah, like this reminds me in all the best ways. I love what I'm about to talk about. It reminds me, at least the stills and like how they've described it, of the Ewoks movies.
Yes.
Um, and I think that is something that has been that we've needed, kind of a
Yeah.
return to like this is who Star Wars is for at
Mhm.
its core.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It looks fun. It looks cute. It looks
And there was an interview that Jude Law did with People Magazine, and he talked about like how much fun the project is. I mean, look at this. You've got kids on bikes right here.
There's
Yeah.
also there's streamers on the bike. Someone pointed that out, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, they're literally kid bikes." It's
Now, do they have like
Yeah.
little baseball cards like on the motors to sound it like, to make it sound more powerful? But like, how
Maybe.
can you not love that? Like, it looks like an
Yeah.
Amblin thing. It looks like ET. It looks like all of like this fun stuff that like growing up in the 80s and 90s and getting these kids on bikes movies. God, I'm old.
Yeah.
Honestly, kids on bike, underrepresented.
I mean,
genre
Goonies is
nowadays.
still a
We need
classic.
to bring them
To be
back.
fair,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
everyone still watches
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, Goonies
It's one
is a
of the
classic.
canonical childhood movies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Faye, you just hit the nail on the head. They need to bring back more kids on bike stuff. They really do. I love those streamers. Absolutely love those streamers on the handles. And then we've got a droid voiced by Nick Frost. First we had Simon Pegg in Star Wars. Now we have Nick Frost in Star Wars, which I think is awesome. We're coming full circle with these two. Hopefully this one is not as much of a jerk as Unkar Plot was. But who knows?
I do want to point out this droid's name is Smee,
It-
like the first mate to Captain Hook.
Oh, that's so perfect.
What I mean by full circle is Simon Pegg was in Star Wars first. Now it's Nick Frost. And they were both in movies together before they both did Star Wars. They were in Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, which
God, Shaun of the Dead, what a film!
What a
Hot
good
Fuzz.
movie.
Hot Fuzz, what a film!
Yeah, I still haven't finished the Cornetto trilogy because I just don't want it to end.
I am actually in the exact same boat for the exact same reason.
I just think Hot Fuzz is just such a great movie. I like that more than Shaun of the Dead, but that's just because I'm not a big zombie guy. But
I love
Shaun of the Dead
zombies.
is not my first zombie movie, but it definitely completely changed how I feel about zombie movies for the better.
Shaun of the Dead returns to the George Romero analysis of zombies, which I think that's what that era of zombie movies was missing. So for that reason, I love it.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. All right. So we have the kids with Smee here, which I love the name of that droid. I absolutely love the name of this droid. And then we've got them on it. Look at this. Look at this. You've got a speeder bike with a little. That reminds me of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, how can you not be excited for this show?
Why have we not had more sidecars on speeders in Star Wars?
Honestly, yeah.
Because like we had a couple in the Clone Wars, but that's it.
We also did get it in Mando also because of Grogu with Kelleran.
Right.
Yeah.
Grogu was in the sidecar.
In his little bassinet in a sidecar. I mean, what have you. Speeder bikes and Vesper Rangers crossover. I hope so.
Yes.
Yeah, we love our Go-Go Vesper Rangers here.
Honestly, this would be the show to bring them back in.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because the tone works really well.
And this is set in that era.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This is set in the Mandalorian era. So and you know what? I think like a lot of us have been kind of like scrambling for some like a show that like really world builds this era, in my opinion, because like we've gotten
because everything that we've had in this era is either really focused on Mando and his journey, or Tatooine, or Ahsoka and her journey.
Yeah.
we haven't really had one that's been able to just kind of be like living in the galaxy. And then like the other thing that we have in this era is hunters, which is even more like specific down to a group and a place.
Yeah.
This is kind of the first one that we're getting that's like
basically
they
normal
kind
people.
of can do anything. They
Yeah.
kind of can show us what the normal parts of the galaxy are like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the fact that it like the summary specifically notes like lost in the galaxy, not just wandering the galaxy or like living in the galaxy, like it's lost in the galaxy. So when I hear the word like lost in the galaxy, I think like, oh, we're really exploring. Like there's gonna be a lot of exploration and new discoveries and things. And oh, I love that. So excited.
To me it kind of feels like both Lost in Space TV shows, like the original and the Netflix one. And then it also feels like, I don't know if you all watch this, but it feels like Stargate Atlanta. I mean, no, not Atlantis, Universe in a way, where they're like on a ship and like they're just like hurtling through space. They really don't know like how to stop the ship or like what to do. So like they're trying to figure it out as they go. Like if they give me that in this, I'm sat. Like let's do this. Like, don't make it a survival thing. Like, like have us
No.
root for the characters, but don't like put them in dire situations every episode.
Yeah, it actually I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but like
You're good.
for several reasons, this show just gives me like sure it gives me feels for other specific things, but if we're like looking at it in terms of like Star Wars, a conversation I want to have is like in terms of this and Resistance, because like with Resistance, kind of similar to what we just talked about, they were very willing to go to like a different area. Sure, there was still a lot of like familiar elements, and like we still had like the First Order stuff and everything, but like they were at the Colossus, a completely different area, completely different adventures, and like we started this conversation out with, very open to that child audience. And I think I'm really hopeful for the show for two reasons. One, being very exploration based with all that like unique exploration of this time that we discussed, kind of similar to what Resistance does with that time in the timeline. And then two, I am really grateful because I know we've had like kid elements in all of the shows, even like the gritty shows, like they tried to throw freaking Basil in the Acolyte or whatever. But like I think this show is it makes me so hopeful because I feel like a lot of people wrote off the kid elements of Rebels and Resistance as the medium. They said because it's animation, it has the ability to just be that thing for the kids. But now we're getting a live action show, which I hate that people only take live action seriously. There's too many people that just neglect animation, and live action is just woo. But the big thing I want to go with is just the fact that a live action show is willing to like be a little more kiddie, be a little more goofy, include children, be more open to that audience. I really appreciate it. And it makes me just so happy as like an animation fan that I can now be like, it's not just because of animation, it's just Star Wars. Star Wars is for kids, and you can't just say it's because it's animated or because it's not animated.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The reason why I was like, we're starting off with this great, we're having something to remind people that Star Wars for kids is like a lot of sections of the fan base will always harp on what George wanted, when like George wanted this to be a kids series.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind like if they do if you do some serious stuff in it, like you have like with Rebels and Resistance and Clone Wars and all of that, but really for this show, focus on the kids. Focus on the wonder element. Like that's what I really want too.
Yes.
Like just focus on the fun of exploration as a kid, and like that was one of my favorite things about the Bad Batch, was seeing things from Omega's perspective, like as she grew on me, because remember I wasn't the biggest fan in the beginning, but as she grew on me, seeing her see the universe from her perspective, oh my gosh, it was so brilliant. Um also, can the four of us agree that we would do anything for Neil?
Yes.
I would kill and die for Neil.
I have not made a heart meme with a character so fast in my life. Very cute.
Yes. Amanda says, "Give me Goonies in space." That's what I want this to be.
Yes.
That's exactly what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Like it's fun. It's lighthearted, but still like has a lot of heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at that smile. Like you can tell he's having a good time.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, that's what I loved about that People interview, was he was just like, "Hey, this was so much fun, especially working with the kids, doing all of that." Like, and if the kids are having fun and the adults are having fun, this show is just going to be just beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Like this, a lot of people are like, "Well, where's the love letter to Star Wars?" This is your love letter to Star Wars right here. This is your love letter to growing up right here. And I
like
I love
this is the Ewoks movies. This is
the holiday special.
The holiday special. This is Droids. This is
it's so much like I especially like the shot with them in the sunny meadow with the bikes, because
that's my favorite.
In a way, like in the way that Dex's Diner is a love letter to like George and like the Greasers, like this is a love letter to like a very specific era of movie and medium, and it's so perfect for Star Wars. Like it's Star Wars. You get to play with like references to so many different cultural things, and like this is
I am also going to say this real quick, and if I catch hate for this, I really don't care. Who better to greenlight this show than somebody who actually worked in this era of movies and worked around these movies? Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
This is what she cut her teeth on.
Literally,
she really did. Yeah. And like
cutting your teeth is such a weird phrase. Sorry.
I know it is. It really is.
Like I know what it means, but like it's still so weird.
It is.
It's a pretty weird turn of phrase. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. We're gonna get some Kathleen Kennedy hate. I can just tell you right now.
It's
oh yeah, no.
It's inescapable.
Yeah, but like this is just. I can't wait for this. I really can't wait for this. And it comes out at Christmas. What better time to feel like magical than at Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know what? That's one thing I've missed about Star Wars, is having something at Christmas time with Star Wars.
That was really nice with the how we were getting the sequels at
Yeah.
That was really nice. I also I always have something really nice at Christmas because I do an annual watch of the holiday special.
I sometimes just watch the holiday special for fun, but I do always watch it again around the holidays.
One of my friends has only seen the Star Wars holiday special, and I have told them don't watch anything else. Keep it like this. This is funnier.
Also, Neil's big expressive eyes have captivated me.
Oh, yes.
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah, we lost.
I wondered why he went quiet for a second.
I was, yeah. Oh dear.
And it does take place around Life Day. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm like, oh no, we've all been left to our own devices. Whatever shall we do?
We are in charge.
Whoa. We are in charge. See, let me pull up our notes here.
All right, what's next? Eric has been captured by the First Order. Do we have any final thoughts on?
Clearly, we just need to bring back Kids on Bikes because that's what I'm most excited
Legitimately,
about.
it's yeah.
Yeah. And I think like also just like what Eric said about like the wonder of it, like it makes me think about like Boy and like Last Jedi. It makes me think of like the little like just like, and also like I said with Resistance, like just getting like you said, they don't need to be in danger every episode. I want some kids to just wander the galaxy and explore. They don't need.
I want them to get into hijinks, not danger. You know?
Exactly, like hijinks.
Oh yeah, hijinks are exactly what we need.
Exactly. Like you can have entertaining hijinks without kids dying. No more death, please. No more death.
I will say, if I see anyone doing the things that we did to the child actors during the prequels, I'm stealing your left shoes.
No, that is a very important conversation. Like, no, oh my god. I don't want to see any hate towards the children. No hating the children.
Separate the actor from the character, and don't come for them on social media.
Exactly.
Yeah. I highly doubt that anyone watching this show is going to attack children now.
I highly doubt it. It needs to be said because it is unfortunately a thing that happens regularly in this fandom.
Yes. Yep. Ooh, here's the real question.
Ooh.
Is Neil going to speak basic?
I hope he doesn't.
What's your opinion on that? Oh, is he gone again?
I think he's gone again.
No.
Are you there?
Okay.
Here we go. Okay.
Eric, what's your opinion? Will Neil speak basic or not?
I kind of hope they go the Star Trek Prodigy route where you can't understand him at first, and then like they get a translator, and then you can understand him. Or they just go the court route, and he slowly learns basic.
Yeah.
Both of these are great options.
Yes. I am so sorry. We have had some storms, so I lost power.
No worries.
No worries.
You're good.
I'm glad it was a short blip.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too. Is everything coming in all right?
Yeah.
All right.
Everything is.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, well, we were done looking at those photos anyway.
Yeah, I think we're ready to move on to whatever our next thing is.
All right. So our next thing, we have a couple of things here on the game side of Star Wars. One of them being a few people were able to play Star Wars Outlaws a little bit early at an event. And the first impressions for Outlaws are actually very positive. So, and one of the things that you can do to pass the time in the game is play some sabacc. So, guess who's going to lose his life to sabacc for a while?
Such a fun game. I need to get my friends together IRL to play it again.
Sabacc is a great game.
It's just so fun.
It is. Yeah, so a lot of people have been playing it. There have been some negative first impressions as well.
Of course.
And we are hearing that, like Jedi Survivor on the PC, Outlaws might be glitchy at start on the PC as well. So
yeah,
just keep that in mind when
Hoping
it comes
I get
to...
lucky again in that case. Because I got lucky and it worked on my computer for Survivor.
Yeah. It didn't hit everybody. It just hit like specific, so we'll see how that goes. I am ready for this game. My Xbox is ready. I am prepared to lose hours and hours and hours to this game. Not neglecting my wife or my cat, but I wish I could call out of work sick on the day that it comes out like that. I think that would be a lot of fun, but
yeah.
I got
I still might. We'll see.
Yeah, just like a 24 to 48 hour bug, something like that.
Might push it to 72. You know, we'll see.
Yeah. It does
I
come
tend
out
to
on
be
a
slow when it
Friday.
comes to new games.
It does come out on Friday the 30th. So, oh crap! I'm going to a concert that weekend. That's Saturday night.
I guess I shouldn't plan anything for
I'll
I will
I'll play a
be
little.
at Dragon Con, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dragon Con is always like Labor Day weekend.
It sure is, and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
there.
Awesome. So between Star Wars Outlaws, concerts, and Dragon Con, yeah. So that's one of the things. Next up, gaming wise, Fantasy Flight Games has just announced their their third set to the Star Wars Unlimited card game, and we are looking at Twilight of the Republic. This is a Clone Wars themed set for Star Wars Unlimited. The starter set alone. Let's get here with the first one. Here we go. Twilight of the Republic. I'm going to share the screen again. Let's see how this works. Let's see here. Here we go. So, this is the Star Wars Unlimited website. We are looking at Twilight of the Republic, and these are your starter deck leaders. You've got General Grievous and Ahsoka Tano right here. This is the
Very
Ahsoka
nice.
Tano leader card. When the game starts, you have the leader in the horizontal position here. When you activate the leader, you flip them and put them to the vertical position. If they do lose their life, they just go back to being a regular horizontal leader. They don't get removed from the game. So she has a thing called coordinate, where you can pretty much add attacks to units, which is pretty cool. And then we've got General Grievous here. He is literally a droid factory.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he can just keep bringing out droids and all of that fun stuff. Um, so here we go. This is a little bit more of the art here. We've got Captain Rex, Ventress, and Anakin. Anakin is confirmed for the set along with Rex. The 332nd Clone Trooper Battalion is confirmed as well for the set. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. This was the starter set for set 2 that just came out, where you have Moff Gideon. Actually, here's Moff Gideon right here. I did get the starter set, and it also comes with Mando with Grogu in the deck as well. So this is a really fun card game. The deck building possibilities are all awesome. You've got Dr. Afra's in this game, Grief Karga's in this game, Hondo, Jabba the Hutt, all sorts of fun stuff. So, if you are looking to get into a fun Star Wars game, definitely check out Star Wars Unlimited. It is a lot of fun. Apparently, they are playing a shit ton of it at Gen Con, or I mean, Bantha Poodoo ton of it at Gen Con this weekend. So, um, what else do we want to talk about before we get into cons?
I would love to chat a bit about the High Republic books that they announced.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, actually, why don't we'll split it. We'll do the Star Wars books real quick, and then we'll do some more con stuff. Does that work?
Yeah.
Sounds good. We
All
can
right,
talk
cool.
about that. Yeah.
All right. I just actually exited out of the Star Wars website, so you have to give me Oh, also, D23 starts next week as well, so we are going to be getting some Star
Oh
Wars
my
books
god, that's
out
gonna
of
be crazy.
that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. I'm waiting for that to load up. Yeah, we did get a lot from that publishing thing. let's dive into this. We are getting count them, two Acolyte canon novels.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's been
I am
overdue
so
that the
excited.
shows are getting connected with the publishing.
Yeah,
stuff.
that we're finally
Yes.
getting these tie-ins is, I mean, overdue, but like,
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yes.
We were supposed to get, I think you and I were talking about this, Leo. We were supposed
Yeah.
to get the Mandalorian tie-in novel a couple of years ago, but then they shelved it.
Yeah. I think it's very poetic that the High Republic is like the first era with a TV show to get tie-in novels directly because it started in publishing. They know that they have the fans to make the books sustainable.
That's probably part of it.
Yes.
And I think that's why they didn't end up going through with the Mandalorian ones. The fans were not going to be the type that were to be buying books.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if I can't see it on screen, I don't want it.
Oh my
That's
god.
what he's for.
Let's not be mean to Mandalorian fans.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not. I'm not.
It's
I'm not.
definitely like the Star Wars publishing fans and the Star Wars show fans. Like, it's always been kind of,
Yeah.
the Star Wars publishing fans have always been a breed of our own.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I am not disrespecting any Mandalorian fans or anything. I am not. I just know that there are some fans that are out there that are like, well, I don't want a real book. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, back to the books. So the first one, we are getting Wayseeker, written by Justina Ireland, and it's about Vernestra Rowe.
I'm very excited.
I'm
like,
s-
Justina Ireland Vernestra
Yeah.
is
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and having her be the one to bridge the 100-year gap,
Mhm.
to explain how she's changed and all that.
Oh yes.
I think that's perfect. I think
It's
she's
so
the
good.
perfect one to pick to
Yeah.
Hmm.
develop her
Yeah.
in that way.
It's set 20 years before the Acolyte, so we've got some time with this one.
Mhm. But the synopsis says like talk about how she like gets pulled back into like Coruscant action. So that's just kind of interesting to see how maybe this is like the turning point that really just makes her so defend the Jedi. Even if though it's 20 years, just to see her being pulled from this way seeking back into Coruscant, it'll be interesting to see like what she experiences that like changes things for her.
Yeah. Because like part of me, and we talked about this before, part of me was just like, I want to know why she became as cold as she became in that finale. That's my big thing.
I ultimately think it comes down to whatever happened between her and the stranger, because I don't think Kamir's actually the stranger's name.
Darth Teeth, that's his name.
Dr. Teeth.
Dr. Teeth. And the Electric May.
I am going to continue calling him a stranger until we get a confirmed name.
Fair enough.
It's just so weird to call him that. I can't. I don't know why. I can't.
Stranger.
A stranger. Yeah.
Stranger.
Oh, John has a good one. Darth Smiley.
Darth Smiley. We also called him Smilo Ren for a little bit too.
Smilo.
Oh.
And the only reason why we called him Smilo Ren was we did hear the Kylo theme at one point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up regarding the Kylo theme. That isn't the only time that we've heard that progression of horns used outside of Kylo Ren. It was also used for the arrival on Tatooine in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
It was.
The same ba 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 ba. Yeah. Anyway, I always have to bring that up because it's so interesting to me.
Darth Thirst Trap when he was shirtless.
Oh my
god. All right. Moving
also,
on.
Speaking of him being shirtless, shout out to finally giving us on-screen depiction of someone putting on Jedi-esque robes, so we can see how they go on.
It's
we had Jorn steaming his robes.
We did have Jorn steaming his robes. So between the two of them, we have a lot more information about the textile culture of the Jedi.
Yes. Yes.
Which I personally enjoy. As
I'm
I
personally
enjoy the
ecstatic
era
about it.
of embroidery.
I have a bunch of linen ready for me to cut and make into now proper lore accurate closure Jedi tunic.
Same. It's mostly constructed, actually.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Eric, but me and
you're
Faye,
fine.
we have our own priorities when we're watching
You're
these
good.
things.
You're
strongly
good.
have priorities.
I mean, I
that's
look
the
at
reason why I loved Andor as well, because Andor, you had him like so many scenes where people were getting dressed, and it's like, yes, they're using magnets. They're using.
yeah. So
Anyway.
for mine, I actually for my tabards, I actually have clips like on the shoulders for my tabards. So I actually just like clip them in. And that helps so
That's why
much.
I like the I don't know what to call them other than like the European style single tabard.
Mm-hmm.
That like a lot of the mission robes and like Elzar's
Oh, are you talking about the
temple
one that's
robes
kind of like draped towards the
where it's like
bottom?
a basically just like a long rectangle with a neck hole?
That is
It's
actually a tabard.
Yeah, like an actual tabard.
It's an actual tabard.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've even got the magnetic closures.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for my
I've got my
Obi,
stack of magnets here as well.
for my Obi, it's actually Velcro, like in the back.
Yeah.
So that helps.
I've got my roll of Velcro here as well.
I hate the
I'm
sound
sitting in front of my
Velcro
sewing setup.
Nice. All right,
currently at
moving
my
on
desk
here.
and I do lots of sewing at work.
Nice.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next thing. If you are a member of the Jackie Jam or the Yord Horde, by the way, real quick, Daphne Keene is having one hell of a year. Tessa Gratton is writing a YA novel set in the years leading up to the Acolyte that's going to feature Jackie and Yord.
Yeah.
Which is so fun.
So fun.
You know they're just gonna this is going to be like a road trip buddy movie, probably.
Literally. Like
everyone immediately fell in love with their like sibling dynamic.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to see more. To see
is
like
so good.
maybe not the origins of it, because it kind of seems like they've known each other before this book, but like how it develops.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be a mission where some
How
stuff
many
goes
times
down.
has she walked in on him steaming his robes?
I was only steaming. I was only put some clothes on.
At least we know one thing, and that's Jedi do their own laundry, which means
Jedi do their own laundry. Like between the High Republic has really fed us with learning that the Jedi, the robes are sewn in the temple.
Yeah.
And they do their own laundry. Like
they do their chores. they do their chores.
Yeah, no, and I also, for this book specifically, kind of like touching back to how we started this whole like podcast, like it's going to be another kind of kid adventure in the sense that like they have to be separated from their masters for their adventure.
Right.
So you're getting them exploring the galaxy as two younger individuals and like getting through things together. Like and it's just like the banter I know that's gonna make like the freaking like the way they deal with situations so fun.
Like this is gonna be a book that's able to focus so hard on just these characters and how they work, establishing who they are, growing them, because we know that they survived the book. We know that they are not.
What?
Whoa! Spoiler!
Spoilers! No, but I get what you mean.
It's like,
Yeah.
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 No,
It's
and
kind
I
of
have,
like the living force in that way.
Yeah.
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 and I was also thinking like Midnight Horizon because that was like a road trip novel too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Midnight
Yeah.
Horizon, Out of the Shadows,
Yeah.
Living Forest,
I love when
Padawan.
Star Wars is road trips. I just love when Star Wars is road trips because it's great. It's great. Yeah, spoiler alert. They live.
Spoiler
Um,
alert, the characters
well,
survive from 3 years before the Acolyte to the Acolyte.
Yeah.
but then we don't talk about that.
we
That's like
Whoa.
putting Mufasa in danger in that Lion King prequel that they're making. Like, why would you do that? Because you know he's gonna live.
that is like one of the most well-known movie deaths ever.
No,
I
And
know.
it's even more memorable in my family because everyone remembers my sister watching it and then starting to cry and going, I want my juice.
oh my god.
Jeez.
No, as much as I love like Star Wars angst, I honestly am kind of happy that I can just read a book and not worry about either of them dying for once.
Yeah,
Honestly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's like putting Solo and Chewbacca in mortal danger in Solo. Like, why?
Yeah.
and like, but for Solo, they were able to give us a cast of other characters
Yeah,
around
Yes,
them
that's
exactly.
true.
Exactly.
who you could kind of have as your, I don't want to say cannon fodder, but
Yeah, but you kind of
who
cared about them.
didn't have plot armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
And it's like
That is
what you
true.
said with Skeleton Crew. They can still have hijinks, like even if they're not
Right,
in
like-
mortal friggin' danger.
Skeleton Crew, I can say with 100% certainty, none of the children are going to die in it.
That we know of.
That we know of.
Stop.
I feel
This is
completely
going to be
confident
the
in saying this.
darkest
I will
Star Wars
literally
show ever.
write checks to the three of you and put them in the mail
Oh,
if any of the children die in the course of Skeleton Crew.
Like I said,
oh no.
this is going to be the darkest Star Wars show we've ever gotten now.
Obviously.
Because we've
Oh
said
my
none
God,
of these
why?
kids are going to eat it. None of them are. And
They're
watch
all
it.
going to be fine.
First
And if
episode.
any of them are not okay, I will write 3 checks for $75 and I will send them in the mail.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're placing bets on this now.
Do not bet on the fate of children. No.
Yeah,
Oh
my wife just came in and said, even though they're kids, we have to play the Game of Thrones game where we don't get attached to these characters.
Oh my God.
Because we don't know how long they're gonna be. I know.
I mean,
Oh,
I have had to say that. But for all of the High Republic books, I have had to follow Game of Thrones rules because I got betrayed by the death of Yora Malley in Light of the Jedi.
Yeah. And I went into the Acolyte being so like, oh, I'm so excited for Indara. Like, she seems like she's going to be so cool.
Oh.
And then she got
they cast
Jorah Malley.
Trinity.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to more High Republic fun. We have Kevin Scott is going to be finishing up a High Republic run with a brand new series starting in February of 2025, in which we get Keeve and Kelnaka joining forces with Skier, Lorna D, and Tay.
Hey, Sirik, what a man.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's my grandpa.
That's Peepaw. That's Peepaw.
That's my peoples.
This one, it looks like the cover art's going to be done by Phil Noto again, which Phil Noto is an amazing artist. Yeah, can't wait to see how this one plays out. I have a feeling this is where we're going to get Keeve joining the Lost 20.
It's where she becomes Leave Trennis.
Yeah.
Because they said at San Diego Comic-Con that she's already not calling herself Master by this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which could mean one of two things. Either one, I don't know. Have we ever seen a demotion before?
Only
Oh,
Poe Dameron.
A Jedi demotion. A Jedi demotion.
we have not seen a
Either she gets
Jedi demotion.
demoted, or somehow either she leaves, she's already left, she's been demoted, or somehow she became one of the Grand Masters of the Order.
And then like her and Yoda get into like an argument over like which pudding that they put like in the commissary or something. And then she's like, I'm out.
Oh my god.
Is Yoda gonna disappear again? And she's gonna be like, well, I guess I'm the fucking Grandmaster. Sorry, I guess I'm the Tarkin Grandmaster now.
That green-haired pointy bastard over there.
That little frog.
That little frog.
A good question coming into the chat from John, which is, do we think
Will Geode be in any? I hope to God that Geode is in
Mr. Steal
Into the
Girl.
Light.
I hope that he is. Mostly because if we see Geode again, we're gonna see the rest of the vessel, and I love the vessel crew so much.
Well,
I've been wondering what they're up to.
I think that since Claudia Gray has written the vessel crew in
Every
books
book,
now,
yeah.
in every book,
every book
like
that she's written,
we have to finish their story. Like we have to finish that story.
Yeah, I want them to be in Trials of the Jedi. I know with all of my heart that they are going to be in Into the Light.
Yeah.
I can totally see them being in Tears of the Nameless as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that too. I would love to see Mr. Steal Your Girl, especially if somebody shoots at him again and he just like deflects it again. Like that's it's one of my favorite bits. But we'll see. Speaking
Mr.
of the
Steal
Acolyte,
Girl and Mr. Will not steal your partner under any circumstances.
Moving on and keeping to the Acolyte, we are getting a Kalnaka one shot written by Cavan Scott. And that will be coming out, I think it's this fall. And the cover art is by Phil Noto. Yeah. I love one shots, especially like when it comes to Star Wars, because it's just really cool to get like those one-off stories and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting that we're getting I don't know, I'm just very excited to see more about Kalnaka.
I am too. I have never got a chance to say this, but I like love Kalnaka's design because he has like the samurai hairstyle. Like with the shaved head and the knot brought up forward, like that is the samurai hairstyle. And I like that they have done that with a Wookiee of all characters, because just you don't realize what's happening until you're just like, wait, what's going on with the side of his head?
People were so pissed off about that.
Really?
Yeah, people were so pissed off. They're like, why the hell is the Wookiee's head shaved on both sides? Have you not seen a samurai movie? Like,
it's not even
he wants
on
to show
both
off
sides.
His tattoos. are not cheap.
Like, it's the full like top portion of his head, and then he's got a little ponytail back here that's brought forward. Like,
I love the design. I think he's awesome. I think he's badass.
He wants to show off his tattoos. Those things aren't cheap.
Exactly.
I wouldn't say Kalnaka was wasted in the Acolyte. I just wanted to see more of him, but what we did get from him, I thought was really good.
Yeah. I think part of people thinking that certain characters were wasted or others, I keep coming back to they had to make the characters who died pretty early on really endearing to you in other ways. So having Carrie-Anne Moss, beloved actress,
I love
having her be the first to go, immediately like you're still invested in her death even if you don't know anything about the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a Wookiee, everyone loves Wookiees.
Yeah.
I am the Wookiee king.
But because
but
they
that's
couldn't
for
talk
another
about
time.
OSHA when they were promoting the show.
Did you hear that? Sorry. Sorry, go on.
Because they couldn't talk about OSHA when they were promoting the show, they had to lean on these other
Yeah.
characters, most of whom
Yeah. I mean,
most of whom went the way of the dodo and are now of interest only to historians.
I honestly feel that every character in that show, and we'll get back to the books here in a second, but every character in that show served a purpose and they served it well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even down to like one-off side characters and background characters. The bartender, the bartender's child, the little children who
because
May paid to get into places.
I will say this, I wasn't a big fan of Torben, but like the further we got with his story, like the more I was just like, yeah, okay, you know, this is I'm invested in his story because he's kind of just he's a more punky Wreath Silas, essentially.
Yeah.
He's like Wreath Silas if Wreath was even more of an introvert.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
He is what I would like to call a militant introvert.
Yes. Basil was a hero. Yes, Basil was a hero.
Basil was a hero. Basil is another character where I'm like,
give me a one shot.
This reminds me of the Ewoks movies, and like we had the Ewoks movies on our like collection of video cassettes and DVDs right next to the whole Star Wars like saga.
Yeah.
Like they were part of my canon growing up. So seeing things that remind me of it always makes me happy.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you want to give me more Basil stories, give me a series of one shots with Basil.
Yeah,
just like
give me some Basil exposition.
Yeah. Or give me
please
a Basil.
Tell me someone got that. Please tell me someone got what I just said.
I did.
Okay.
Great mouse detective.
Yeah.
But yeah. John, do you know what a video cassette is? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I am in a mood tonight. I'm sorry. I'm a little.
Don't let us make you feel older than you are.
I feel
we can and will.
I feel so old sometimes. Anyway, yeah, give me some I saw one in a museum. It belongs in a museum.
They do legitimately have them in museums.
I know.
I do need to point that out.
When I was working at Radio Shack back in like 2007, this was like at the very end of the VCR. This customer came in and he was like, "Do you know what a VCR is?" And I was like, "Yes, I know what a VCR is." Because he was looking for like VHS tapes because he wanted to tape like Law and Order or something. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, here." Yeah, that's right. Well, my parents thought that you had to rewind DVDs too. Yeah. As an 80s kid, I had stacks of them. Yeah, I had a bunch of my wife or my mom sent me a bunch of my old VHS tapes from when I was a kid. And like one of them was like the old Little Mermaid VHS, like after the movie had come out. And it was the unaltered cover, so it's the controversial one.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, I still have my stack of VHS tapes.
Yeah, I miss VHS.
The unspecial, the pre-special edition.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss physical media too. That's why I'm trying to collect them as
the
much
original
as I can.
Puppet Yoda Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Shot.
So, I got the Phantom Menace VHS from my mom ordered it off of QVC, like when QVC was still doing like the Star Wars shop. Anyway, back to books.
Back to books. Speaking of physical media.
Yes. if you loved Art of the High Republic Volume 1, guess what? Volume 2's coming.
Woo.
Written
This
by Kristen
one,
Baver.
I really hate to say it because I really want it, but I don't think that we're getting Ziri and Fontu art in this one either.
I hope that we are.
I want them. I want them
I
so
want.
bad.
It
But it
I
does
seems like
want
they
it
would
so
have
say
given us some of the art by
phase.
this point.
It does say phase 2 and phase 3.
I know, and that's why I'm like, I don't want to get my hopes up.
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna get my hopes up on your behalf.
there we
think
go.
they'll finally release that. I think they'll finally officially release that art that they like teased but never actually fully posted for Irem and Arano.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Scuttlebutt. Thank you. Hello there. Yeah, I think that would be really cool because I want to see what those two frickin' planets look like.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the High Republic books. We are getting, but there's more High Republic stuff here in a second. We are getting a art book for Star Wars Outlaws. That's going to be published by Dark Horse. Which I think is pretty cool. I can't wait to see all the concept art from that game. Outlaws is going to be so damn good.
It really is.
Outlaws is going to be so good. Next up, we have an Acolyte visual guide that DK is going to be doing, or publishing, and Pablo Hidalgo is going to be writing that book.
Oh, he always does good stuff.
And for those of you wondering, we are getting a Vernestra Rowe Black Series figure.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And then on top of that, we have a brand new. We are finally getting our first post Return of the Jedi, immediately after Return of the Jedi content. We're getting the Battle of Jakku. We're going to get a couple of miniseries with this. Marvel has already announced that there will be an omnibus for these for the Battle of Jakku.
Perfect.
And these are comics that are getting published bi-weekly instead of monthly, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh
It
yeah,
is.
that's right.
Which is wild. I don't know if a Star Wars comic has done that in the post Disney purchase era.
They have not.
They
No,
haven't.
no,
No.
no, no, no.
So that's
No,
going to
yeah.
be like bang,
Quick.
bang, bang.
So, and like, there's going to be like 4 or 5 miniseries for this thing.
There's
too.
4 issues per series, and I think they've announced 3 miniseries, so there's at least 3. Or at least there's 12 total issues in the Battle of Jakku overarching thing. We don't know if there's going to be anything else.
From what I heard, they're thinking one shots too, like here and there.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
All right, next up here.
I do need to actually head out now. I'm unfortunately going to only stay for an hour today, but I really love talking with you all. And I hope you have a good rest of the stream.
Thank you, Allie.
Nice to have you on.
Bye.
Yeah. I'm also going to take a real quick break so that way I can grab pizza.
All right, you go do that.
All right.
You go do that. Let's see here. And then there's the prequel trilogy graphic novel that they're doing too, which I think is pretty cool. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. No, don't want that. There we go. You have to head out to oh, thanks, Alex. Thank you. Or Alexa, thank you. Thank you. All right, let's see here. We are getting that prequel era or prequel trilogy graphic novel, which is going to adapt all 3 prequel movies, which I think is really cool and is going to be a lot of fun. And then we've got Tales from the Occlusion Zone starting in October. And then we also have a brand new Star Wars encyclopedia that is coming out in November, which Rosario Dawson's going to be doing the foreword for. And let me see here. And then we get Edge of Balance Premonition in April of 2025.
A lot of Star Wars books coming.
Yeah, not to mention we're about to talk about the 3 that they also just announced.
Yeah.
When Faye gets back. When Faye gets back, yeah, we're gonna be talking about some more Star Wars books here. A lot of publishing news.
Which is, I'm really happy that we're getting a lot of publishing news, because there was kind of a silence on that end for a while that was having me kind of worried that they were pulling back from it.
Yeah.
And then they came back and they said, we're going to be publishing these comics bi-weekly, and we're going to be starting this new book trilogy, and we're going to be having tie-in novels.
Yeah.
I am all for new book trilogies and tie-in novels. I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
Did you bring enough for the rest of us, Faye? Okay, that's fine. I'll take mine under the screen.
Yeah, there we
go. All right. So so we have Edge of Balance Premonition coming out in April of next year. We've got a brand new encyclopedia this year as well. Tales from the Occlusion Zone is hitting. And then they waited till literally the day after Comic-Con to announce a brand new trilogy, Reign of the Empire, and the first book, The Mask of Fear, is being written by one of my favorite Star Wars writers, Alexander Freed. John wants to know what kind of pizza.
It's pepperoni.
Can't go wrong with pepperoni.
Yeah.
And we're getting a Mon Mothma book for the first book, which I'm really excited about.
So excited.
Yeah. Faye, what are you drinking?
Oh, I have a monstrosity that is a mixture of margarita mix, Malibu, and lemon elderberry liqueur.
Wow.
Very nice.
Isn't that called a New Jersey Turnpike?
I have no clue.
No.
Yes.
My roommate used to bartend, and so I just
a
let her mix things.
I was gonna drink tonight, but I'm sticking to water. I also forgot to go on a liquor run earlier, so. Yeah.
I was drinking a Fernet Coca, but I finished it.
Oh my god, Amanda's drinking mead. Oh my god. Amanda was trying to. I told her I was going to the Ren Fair in September, and Amanda was trying to convince me to drink mead, and I keep telling her I'm not going to do it.
But it's
just
delicious.
to be difficult. Shh. No.
It's delicious and like so easy to make. I actually have like a growing list of flavor combinations my friends want me to try.
You're supposed to be defending me here.
I can't.
Unfortunately, you're not the wrong person. I'm a brewer.
Still not doing it. You're not gonna make me do it.
What if I made like a Star Wars cocktail that included mead?
As long as you didn't tell me mead was in it. If you come to Farpoint, you can make me
the most mead.
What planet? Probably the one that Din Djarin and Grogu saved from the bad ATST that like the pirates had or something.
Well, no, but they drank.
I think Felucia.
Felucia
would totally.
I think Felucia would be good.
Yeah.
Because it's a jungle planet, pollinators are
maybe
super important.
Kashyyyk, like
Kashyyyk
or something.
Yeah, Kashyyyk would also be a good planet for it.
Yeah. All right. So Mon Mothma is getting a book. Really excited about that.
Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Saw Gerrera, I think, are all going to be featured in it. But
yes,
Mon is the cover character, so yeah.
I am all for Mon Mothma political thrillers, especially after Andor.
Oh, absolutely. And bringing in, having it be kind of these three central figures of the rebellion, two politicians and one Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that.
I am also just happy it's Alexander Freed. Like
Alexander
I love it.
Freed
I'm
writes
so
amazing
excited to see
Star Wars
Alexander
books.
Freed Saw Gerrera.
He
Yeah.
was amazing. Alphabet Squadron was great. Twilight Company. Oh, Twilight Company holds such a special place in my heart.
Twilight Company,
yeah.
it
Rogue One
reminded me
novelization.
of Twilight Company really just felt like I was rereading the things they carried, but in Star Wars, and I really appreciated that.
It really is a World War II story set in space.
No, the things they carried is Vietnam War, which is
I know,
the direct inspiration.
Yeah, but I'm saying like Twilight Company is literally any war story. Like from our history, like set in space. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
And we know he can do political thrillers, so let's
Absolutely.
go, bring it on. We were talking about this the other night in chat. When we were having like a little staff get together. We want to do a book club, like really do a book club, and Mask of Fear is going to be the first book that we do for book club.
Hell yeah.
Not coming out till February, but we're going to do that. I was thinking that or the Mace Windu Glass Abyss novel.
Oh, doing Mace Windu would be really good.
Okay, well then we'll do Glass Abyss. We'll do Glass Abyss. We'll do that first. Because that's October. All right. So now that we did that, I'm going to show off. I'm going to talk about Shore Leave a little bit. We were just there last weekend in PA, and Leah, I would love to hear about your San Diego Comic-Con experience as well.
You will.
So we were there, and they had 2 Star Wars guests at Shore Leave this year. This is mostly this is a science fiction convention leaning heavily towards Star Trek, but this year they actually got 2 Star Wars guests, which is pretty cool. Star Trek wise, I did get to meet Todd Stashwick, who was on Picard. I just walked up to his table and talked to him for a little bit. And then I went to his Q&A. He wants to do Middle Earth next. He wants to be Baron from Baron and Luthien.
Oh.
He really wants to adapt that story. And he wants Luthien to be played by Lucy Liu.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, Star Wars wise, they had Ingvold Delia, who was the stand-in for Princess Leia in Rogue One, and I got her to autograph my Blu-ray.
Nice.
Yep. I told her this is one of my absolute favorite movies, and it really is. I love Rogue One so much. And then they had my boy. Here we go. My wife got this Funko Pop before the convention. Greg Grunberg was there. Snap Wexley himself.
The man who broke my heart and made me scream and cry in the theater when no one else was screaming and crying when I saw.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you about him in just a minute. Like when my interaction with him, I also did get him to autograph my Force Awakens Blu-ray too. I think that he should have used silver for it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um. So I was talking to him about Snap's character, and he didn't know anything about the other stories. The fans have told him about Snap's other stories, and he's like, and I said, I would have loved for you to interact. Like, I would have loved for you to have a scene with Wedge. He's like, could you imagine? Could you imagine how awesome that would have been for Snap and Wedge to be together? I was like, yes, like that. They should have made that happen.
Yeah.
Missed by
I
minutes.
know, I know. And then, he was talking about how somebody told him about Mr. Bones, and he's like, damn it, Mr. Bones should have been in the sequels.
He really should
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. And then he was talking about like the casting process and like how he was like introduced to Snap, and like people were talking about Nora, and they're like, yeah, your mom was like one of the best pilots in the rebellion. And he's like, who is it? Like, tell me who this is. Like,
Aw.
yeah, Greg Grunberg. Oh man, that was so much fun. That was so much fun to meet him.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, they were both great because like they did Q&As together, because like they tried to keep, like, if you were with, like, they kept the Stargate people together for their Q&As. They had Stashwick together with the person who played Cindy LaForge in
Mhm.
Picard. And so like they had these two for Star Wars. And Ingvold is a fan of Norwegian Finnish folk music.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot of really good stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah, in which she was, um, Craig Grunberg's like, yeah, so like, what's your favorite song? And then she's like, yeah, there's this song about this horse that his master leaves him, and like he swims the English Channel, but he dies on his way over to England or something. And
Yeah.
and then like finally like Greg Grunberg's like, can you sing us a song from the Depressed Dead Horse? Like, can you sing us some of that? But it was pretty cool. Greg Grunberg is also in a band where they just do cover songs. They are called the Action Figures, and the only way that you can be in the band is if you had an action figure made of you.
Oh.
So
Oh my
like
god.
Todd Stashwick's in it because he has his action figure from Picard. Star Trek Las Vegas is going on right now. They had Michael Dorn in there like last night, because Worf got an action figure and like
Yeah.
all that other stuff. Um, but apparently the band was founded by him, or by Grunberg, Stashwick, and Hugh Laurie. Like Hugh Laurie is part of the band too. Yeah,
Oh my
Dr.
god.
House. Dr. House is part of this band.
Amazing.
I know, right?
See,
Um,
this is giving me more and more reason to like, of all things, I want to, of all the people at Dragon Con, I want to see Charles Soule so I can meet the man who killed my girl face to face. And then Timothy's on. Because obviously.
Zahn is a great meet. Timothy Zahn is a great meet.
I
He's
I
so
want
nice.
to like see him face to face and go, how do the Chiss expansionary defense fleet uniforms close?
How do they?
I still stay up at night thinking of them.
I told him I told him that yeah, John wants to load a shotgun. Um I I told
I
Timothy
specifically
Zahn
want.
that I love how Samacro does sound like Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. I specifically want to meet Charles Soule when I'm dressed as Yora Valley.
Remember
Yes.
me? Remember me?
Remember what you did.
just screaming bloody murder at him. Like, how dare you?
You need to
No.
come up with. You need to walk up to him with added to your cosplay the Marley chains.
And just start singing Miss
Okay.
Marley and
You will be
Marley.
visited by 3
Ooh.
Force ghosts.
The
It's
beef
all High Republic
will,
characters out of the Force
ideally,
Ghosts.
the beef will remain online, but like,
It's it's all High Republic Force Ghosts. So it's like Yora Mali, Load and Greatstorm we can throw in there too. Um yeah. Anyway, that's awesome. That is awesome. Um Shore Leaves Masquerade though, not really awesome. Um the costume contest, while the costumes were really good and a lot of fun, they had audio issues with a lot of the music
oh,
cues. So like only half of them like had music playing.
yeah.
The MCs were not good. I think they might have come up from the hotel bar
Mm,
Mm.
after a little bit. But there was one highlight from the masquerade, and that was during the halftime show. And I actually got to meet this person at Shore Leave after his halftime performance. His name is Lawrence. You can find him on Instagram at Geek Life Rules, and he was dressed as the 14th Doctor, and he sang 3 songs.
Oh my
So
god.
one of his songs was My Girl, and because he was singing, he chose that song because DB Woodside, who was on Lucifer and 24, was in the Temptations movie back in the 90s, I think. Yeah, 90s. So he wanted to sing My Girl. The second one was Shadows of the Night by Pat Benatar, which is pretty cool. And
Mhm.
then the final one, or that was actually the last one that I'm going to say was his first song, which I thought was very appropriate for how he was dressed. He sang Back in Time from Huey Lewis and the News, dressed as the Doctor. And I got to tell you, it was awesome. And that song
that is
has been
fun.
stuck in my head ever since. I'll be at work and I'll be like, gotta go back in time. Um, yeah. So it was great. We had some friends enter the masquerade. They were dressed as locusts or cicadas,
Mhm.
but their audio didn't work. So
Oh.
yeah, but they ended up placing third in their category. But yeah, it was an alright experience. They had to change venues because the venue that they had closed. Um, back in October, so they moved to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is an hour and a half away from where we are. Um, but you know, the hotel wasn't that bad. But you know, we had a good time. I bought 7 books last weekend. 7. I bought a fantasy mystery called Dragon Precinct.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Um, it's good so far. Pretty good so far. And then I bought a Spider-Man omnibus. Actually, the author of this wrote a story in this,
Nice.
and
Ooh.
the author also did sign this. Where is it? There it is. It says to Eric, book him. Um, yeah, and then he signed this. Then I got a Stargate SG-1 novel because the writer was there. Met her before, but I couldn't seem to track her down because whenever she had a panel, I was in another panel. But I did get an SG-1 novel. Um, I got to meet. Oh wait, that's next. Um, Jim Butcher's son is writing books now.
Mhm.
So I picked this up. If you're a Critical Role fan, I got the Vex and Vax story. Yeah, Vex and Vax. And
Very
then I
nice.
got to meet Greg Cox, who's a great writer. He wrote an X-Men and Avengers prose omnibus, and his latest I dropped him. I'm good. I actually caught him. And his latest Star Trek novel debuted at the con as well. So I got him to sign that too. So yeah, bought 7 books and I have to read all of these now. So I'll let you know how it goes. um
Yeah.
yeah, all in all, fun experience. It was a fun con. I love Faye, you and I have talked about this before. I love small cons. Absolutely
Mhm.
love small cons. I did get to hang out with the Farpoint people this past weekend too. If you're looking for a fun small con to go to and you want to come to the East Coast, go to Farpoint in February. They have Matthew Wood and Helen Slater from the Star Wars universe there. Bonnie Gordon, who is the voice of the computer in Star Trek Prodigy, is going to be there as well. And Michelle Forbes, who was Ensign Ro Loren in Star Trek The Next Generation and Picard, and in Battlestar Galactica. And she was also on 24. A lot of people have been on 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be there. Anyway, let's move on here. Leah, tell us about San Diego Comic Con, your day there before we get into the rest of the Comic Con news.
Yeah. Actually, mentioning Star Trek, part of
Yeah.
what made me want to go to San Diego Comic Con for that one day, other than, of course, the Star Wars announcement,
Yeah.
was the authors of the here, let me make it so that I can actually hold things up to the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The writers of the Star Trek main comic, Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, were there.
Oh, they're so good.
The Hive Mind, as they call themselves. So I got most recent issue of that run signed. Um, the current arc, as a big fan of the original characters in this run, Ensign Talir and Ensign Aholia Lily Sato,
Mhm.
phenomenal. But I also got their um, a lot of what I was doing there was with the Magma Comics booth, because I am like the biggest evangelist for Magma Comics. I'm
Mhm.
loving every run that they've put out. Just a bunch of independent, creator owned stories. So Kelly and Lansing's The Principles of Necromancy. I got the most recent issue signed because I was cosplaying a character from this issue, Dr. Gynecology Gender. Yes, that is her name. Uh, um, and apparently, I was the first person to cosplay from this run, which was cool. They were very happy about that. Um, so it was both of the writers and the artist were all there. That was fun.
Nice.
They also had poster of the cover of the next issue,
Mhm.
Mm.
which is I just think it's gorgeous. All of the art for this series is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Um, Shout out to Eamon Winkle, the artist. And then also from the Magma Comics booth, they had early the number one for their new street level vigilante superhero type character, the
Mhm.
Pedestrian. And his whole shtick is that he does not break the law while fighting crime, and he always travels on foot. um, which is just phenomenal. We love we love a character with a good shtick.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so this is our first kind of vigilante superhero type run from Magma.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just really excited about that because Magma Comics, it's great. I think everyone should read their stuff. Um,
Yeah.
my personal favorites thus far are Principles of Necromancy by Kelly Lansing and Winkle, and Scale Trade by Orlando and Megan Huang, who has also she also was one of the artists for Star Wars Hyperspace Stories series.
Nice.
I
I
loved
will.
that.
I will tell you right now, Steve Orlando is an amazing comic writer. Absolutely an amazing comic writer.
Yeah. It's Scale Trade. What's the elevator pitch for it? What if dragons were real, but also dragon poaching was driving them to extinction?
Ooh.
It's fantastic. They also had at the tour booth. They had a poster of the cover art for What Moves the Dead.
Oh,
By T. Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher, who is currently one of my favorite authors. I've been reading her Temple of the White Rat universe books, which I highly recommend for anyone who wants like fantasy with a lot of romance mixed in, admittedly, but like it's a lot of fantasy mysteries, which is I love. And then with the Star Wars portion, they had High Republic authors there. They had a lot of the authors there. So they signed this Phase 3 villains poster.
Oh,
that's really cool.
Which is just exquisite. Unfortunately, Kevin had to dip out before I got to the front of the line, so his signature is not on it. But and then I also got them to sign my Path of the Open handbag.
It's a Path of the Open handbag.
Path of the Open handbag.
Yeah,
that's most of my like fandom related things. I also just
nice.
I went to a really good panel about like sapphic fantasy lit that Kirsten White, author of Star Wars Padawan, was on. She did say during that panel that the Acolyte is pretty much exactly how she pictured the High Republic being when she wrote Padawan.
Oh, perfect.
Which I just love to hear that. And then, it was just generally a very interesting panel.
Nice.
Yeah, I just had a great time, hung out with friends. A couple friends came into town who don't live in SoCal, and then getting to see my SoCal friends as usual. It was a good con. I felt like I was constantly running from place to place, which is why I always do a fairly low energy cosplay for San Diego Comic-Con, because it is always hot and always running from place to place.
Yeah.
But this is my second year at San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm really hoping that I can swing going next year as well, just because it's really fun.
Yeah, I hope so. One of these years I'll get out there. One of these years.
It's definitely like the craziest con that I've been to, even compared to like Star Wars Celebration, which is a very crazy con.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot going on. There's a ton of people. But like getting to it's one of the best places to meet people. San Diego Comic-Con last year is where I first met Alex and Molly of Star Wars Explained. We got to meet with Kristen Baver, Alyssa Wong, Mike Siglane, Swagman, uh, M. Shkukani, Pablo Hidalgo. Like everyone was there, so we got to say hi to them and that kind of thing. But it's a very crazy con. It's very fun. It's draining as all hell. And I look forward to going again next year.
So real quick, I did pick up one other thing at Shore Leave.
Hell yeah.
So this past weekend, I ran into a couple of members of the TFM that I'm not gonna I don't want to say that full name because I don't want them to get
It's like
any
Beetlejuice, it summons them.
recognition. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you know me, I've been on a big Sanderson kick since the end of last year. Um,
Mhm.
and I was at one writing panel or one author panel over the weekend, and there were a few Sanderson haters, so I kind of got down in the dumps, you know, like I'm just like, oh yeah, I ran into these guys, and now I ran into these Sanderson haters. And my wife's like, hey, let's walk the vendor hall, you know, see what's there.
Mhm.
So I picked up a couple of other books, and then I walked up to this table, and hopefully this person's watching. She had hand painted signs, also from like all of geekdom. So there was like Alien, so like you had Hadley's Hope, you know, from like Aliens. There was a bunch of
Yeah.
Star Wars stuff. They had like a bunch of Disney stuff. Like there was a Snuggly Duckling sign, like all that fun stuff. Well, she also had some laser etch stuff like flasks and everything, but then she was also selling journals that had like these um carved printed things on the journal. And my wife's like, you need like a pocket journal to go with you, like, because I lug around kind of like a decent size like regular journal for notes and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let me look. The this thing says $10 for a journal. So like I'm looking through, and then all of a sudden I come across this. This is from Stormlight Archive, and it's the Bridge 4 symbol
Oh.
with the Order of the Knights Radiant, the Windrunner. And then it's got the oath for the Knights Radiant that says, "Life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination." And like everything that I was feeling like down in the dumps, like my wife helped me find this, and then like everything came rushing back, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Bridge 4." Turned out the person that was selling these things was a huge Sanderson fan. Her sister, who was selling right next door, huge Sanderson fan, named her dog after one of the characters from Mistborn.
Oh, I love that.
And I
Oh,
was just like,
okay.
this is amazing. Like I like, oh man, it just a $10 journal did that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
yeah. I love like when you have something that you love, like, and you meet someone else who loves it, and it just makes your day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I gave her my card and I was like, I want to have you on at some point just to geek out about Star Wars because she was a big Star Wars fan too. So I'm gonna reach out to her soon and we'll have her on the show very soon. Like I think that that would be a lot of fun. I also gave Greg Grunberg my card, so I might actually try to reach out to him. He probably threw it away, but I'm
Oh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Greg. If you're watching, hi.
Greg, if
Hi.
you're watching, hi.
Greg,
All
if you're
right.
watching, I love your mom.
I love you, Greg. I love you. You're my friend. Um, let's get to this thing now. Um, so San Diego Comic Con for Marvel started off interesting. Friday night they had a celebration of life of Deadpool and Wolverine, in which they had a full choir sing that Madonna song from the trailer and from the movie. In which, if you have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet, they brought out a lot of spoiler actors that were in the movie. They brought them out on stage for the celebration of life. Should I say who the cameos are?
So I say we can go for it, mostly because I feel like them spoiling it at Comic Con is
Yeah,
a major shift for Marvel and switching
yeah,
away from the anti-spoiler culture that they had during the main Avengers run.
hmm
I like that they're talking about spoilers because I think that relying on spoilers for shock value is a basically like it shows bad writing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, spoilers ahead. Thank you, John. Spoilers
Thank
ahead.
you.
So in this movie, we get a variant of Wolverine played by Henry Cavill, and he actually looked great as Wolverine. He actually looks great as Wolverine. So we get that. We get Jennifer Garner back as Elektra
Mm-hmm.
from Daredevil. Daphne Keene is back as X-23. That's why I said she was having a hell of a year.
Yeah.
Um, we got Wesley Snipes back as Blade. And then the other real big one was Channing Tatum as Gambit because they tried to do that Gambit movie. And I got to tell you, we were robbed. We were robbed with
Oh
that.
yeah. I have
Um,
heard his accent for it, and I was
he
just like, "That's our boy."
he's so funny in that movie, and he stole the show. Stole it. He was just like, I may not know who my daddy was, but and then he's like, I've been waiting my whole life for this. I'm gonna make a name for myself. He was great. He was so funny. That and I have to tell you, Matthew McFadden, who plays Paradox, if you've never seen watch Succession to see how this guy is because he's amazing. And then the next thing is there may or may not be an in sync dance sequence slash fight sequence at the beginning of the movie using Wolverine's dead bones. Yeah. Anyway, and then we got the main Hall H panel for Marvel, which they talked about Thunderbolts, which I want to see that just for David Harbour as Red Guardian, because Red Guardian's my favorite part of Black Widow.
I really, I would probably be doing the same thing, but for Echo, because I watched that show and I watched it in
Echo.
Choctaw.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so if you
Nice.
don't know, several of my friends' coworkers, who my friend does work with the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, several of their coworkers worked to help Disney like translate the show and had a bunch of people come in and dub and so there is a Choctaw version of Echo, and I highly recommend watching it. Like the more streams that that language does, the more times that we're going to see that happen with other similar shows.
And it is subtitled too, like in English.
Yes, it's
All right,
subtitled in English, which is
that's
how I
cool.
watched it because I don't speak Choctaw.
No, that's awesome. Like
All I
that's
know is
really cool.
Habito.
That's really cool. I think they did the same for
That's super
Prey.
cool.
I think they did the same for Prey.
uh, I think so, but they
Yeah.
also just in general had Cree
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
show itself.
But yes, Echo is another reason to watch Thunderbolts. Amanda says Yelena. Yeah. Me, it's Red Guardian and Bucky, and U.S. Agent. I like U.S. Agent too. Um, we're getting Fantastic Four next year as well. I am still not happy about Pedro Pascal playing Mr. Fantastic because you had the perfect one there with John Krasinski. Um, but we get Vanessa Kirby as Susan Storm. All right. Moving on. Why is Pedro fantastic? Because they
His
casted
nickname.
everybody and everything now.
Yeah.
That was like the Chris Pratt train that we had for a while, the Tom Holland train. Um, all right, let's get to this thing. Okay. So the Russos are back. They're going to be directing the next two Avengers movies. And one of the writers from the Captain America movies, as well as the last two Avengers movies, is coming back to write this. We're getting Doctor Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr. Thoughts?
And prayers.
Not applicable.
Thoughts and prayers. Uh,
I I don't think that it works that well for me.
no.
Like I think Robert Downey Jr. coming in as a villain is very fun. I would like to see him as a villain in another franchise. He's already been a beloved part of the Marvel universe. If they bring him back for other shows and other things that take part in different timelines, absolutely. But
Yeah.
him as Doctor Doom, he doesn't he can fit. I want to see him as a villainous character,
Mhm.
absolutely. I don't think Doom's a good character for him.
I don't think so either. I've had a little bit of time to think about this, and like, I get that they're doing the multiverse. They're doing the multiverse thing, so I get it. We have different variants and stuff like that. Like, I get it. However, you had so many actors that you could have chosen to play
Yeah.
Doctor Doom, um, including John Hamm. I would have taken John Hamm as Doctor Doom.
Oh yeah.
Um, Hell, I would have taken Giancarlo Esposito as Doctor Doom instead of him being in Cap 4. Um, I just feel like this is God, Disney, if you revoke anything for me, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but uh I feel like it's a cash grab at this point. I also feel like it's a how can we put butts in seats thing.
Yeah.
Um and I'm sorry, you just had Deadpool and Wolverine, which just blew the doors off the place, and you're doing this.
Yeah. I know I remember really liking Julian McMahon's like version of him.
I liked his version too.
And so I would like to see him come back as Doctor Doom in like in a new version. I think that
Maybe
would be fairly fun.
maybe they're gonna throw us off, and Junior's only in this thing for like a quarter of the movie and then dies. Who knows? Leah, thoughts, or are you just trying to stay quiet on this one?
I have never really had a strong attachment to Doom at all,
Okay.
so I literally just do not have thoughts on the
No,
on the
no,
subject.
it's fine.
I've been pretty checked out of the MCU and stuff for a while,
Yeah.
so
Honestly, same. But this is one where I'm just
I'm
like,
just kind of letting it happen.
Hmm.
yeah,
Um,
Deadpool and Wolverine's the thing that got me back in, and just for that movie. Like now, I'm just kind of like, yeah, maybe I'll wait for Disney Plus for Fantastic Four. Maybe I'll wait for Disney Plus for Thunderbolts.
mhm.
You know, I think once it's hard to top the first three phases of this thing. It's really hard to top it. Because Endgame, let's face it, Endgame was one of those movies that was an amazing experience.
Yeah,
And now, I just feel like there's a loss of identity with the MCU at times too. Like they don't know which direction they're going to go. They've done they've tried doing this multiverse thing, and honestly, they haven't really done a good job with it. Um
yeah. I think ultimately the MCU would have been more successful if we saw these characters be friends. Like a lot of the time, like people will wax poetic about the friendship between these characters, but I've always looked at it going like, these are coworkers, they're not
yeah,
friends.
I mean
To
and
have an expansive world like this, we need some sort of bond between the characters, so that
mhm.
way we actually have emotional investment, which we don't really have.
That's one of my favorite bits in Thor Ragnarok is when Thor's just like he's a friend from work.
Yeah.
Because he's just like he only knows him from work. Like that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I will also say they showed the trailer for Cap 4 in front of Deadpool and Wolverine. Um you revealed Red Hulk too early. And honestly, I don't think the movie looks that good anyway. It doesn't appeal to me. And I love Sam Wilson as Captain America. Like I loved Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Sorry. But I just yeah. So the MCU is happening still. We're getting Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, and then we're getting Secret Wars. I don't know how they're going to do Secret Wars because that is a huge story. Um like yeah. I don't know. Any other thoughts about this thing?
Not
No.
much.
Okay.
I'm in the similar spot where I've been checked out of the MCU for a little
No,
bit
it's
of
fine.
time.
Yeah, I've been checked out of it too. On another note, we did get a trailer for season 5 of Lower Decks, so I was happy about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be sad when Lower Decks ends, though.
One of
We,
these days, I'll become a real Star Trek fan and actually watch Star Trek rather than just reading the comics.
Well, you did get a glimpse at how ridiculous Lower Decks is with Shaq's best day ever
Yeah.
from day one.
Just Shaq's best day.
Oh,
yeah.
Shaq's best day, yeah. I want to call it best day ever because you know it would be like Shaq's best day ever. Um,
I think he does explicitly say, like, verbatim, this is the best day of my life. So, yes.
I
Yeah.
love Shaq so much. Um,
My favorite thing about that one shot, the Shaq's Best Day one shot, is how it is perfectly integrated into the whole otherwise very like grim and serious um Day of Blood arc, Day of Blood
uh-huh.
crossover.
Mm.
Um like yeah, the Klingons have like their planetary government has fallen to this cult. It's getting extremely violent, even by Klingon standards. It's spilling over into other planets. Like, it's terrible. It's crazy. Your favorite characters are getting shot and injured, uh, and Shax is having the best day of his life.
Him so much. He's so great. He's so
Yeah.
great. Permission to blow up their warp core, Captain.
See, I've been enjoying watching they revealed season 3 of Interview with the Vampire with that's music and then it's user,
Hmm.
and I have been enjoying the Swifties having Twitter beef with a fictional character.
That was incredible.
That's amazing.
I don't know if they understand that he's fake and are just doing it for the bit. I genuinely don't know.
I haven't watched it yet, but I heard like he's going like full rock star god.
Oh no, that's actually from the books. Like that
Yeah,
that
it's
is a
Oh,
totally
thing.
from the
okay,
book.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Lestat hears about the book, Interview with the Vampire, and goes, you know what? I can do you one better, and becomes a rock star, and is openly a vampire. And humans just kind of think it's for the bit. It's a part of his stage stick.
Love it. I love it. Um. So, what are we geeking out about besides Star Wars? An interview with a vampire.
Like I mentioned, I have been digging my way through T. Kingfisher's Temple of the White Rat fantasy books.
Nice.
I have now gotten through 4 of the 7 extant books in that setting. And there are more on the way. Most recently, so I started actually with the last series chronologically in the setting, the Saint of Steel series. And then I got 3 books into that before I learned that there were other books set earlier in the timeline, set like 10 years earlier during the war that kind of gave a bunch of the characters in that series their traumatic backstories. So I, of course, had to go back and read the Clock Tower War series. So I just finished the first book of that series.
Nice.
And then my hold on Chuck Tingle's second traditionally published novel, Bury Your Gaze, became available from my library. So I have been reading that now.
Very cool.
Chuck Tingle, the legend.
I love him.
Faye knows who Chuck Tingle is. Eric, are you familiar with Chuck Tingle?
No, but I've heard him.
He is the wonderful
author
of Pounded by the Butt by my own butt.
Hundreds of Tinglers?
Tinglers, yeah, books like, as Faye mentioned, Pounded in the Butt by my own butt?
I was gonna say,
or
like, he wrote a book just called Hundreds of Tinglers? Like...
No. Tinglers are his, I guess there's no way to describe them other than erotic novellas.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them are erotic. There are
they are
Arrow and Ace ones.
Yeah, there are Arrow and Ace ones. So like
and there's also like Harriet Porber, transgender wizard, and the bad boy Paralosophus.
An important thing about Chuck Tingle is that like these are comedic erotica, but they get at like actual like, real things.
They are legitimate books.
They're legitimate books. They were well written, everything like that. But
he's an incredible author.
Yeah. But a lot of them are also like he's trying to make a point usually about the queer community. So like for example, and I've got a long title going for you here. We also have Not Pounded by the Physical Manifestation of Bisexual Gatekeeping because it's super gross, and if you do it, you're not the hero you think you are. You're actually
that is the title to the book.
That is the title to the book.
Oh my god!
So yeah, I'm really enjoying Bury Your Gaze. Specifically, I am listening to the audiobook because the audiobook for Bury Your Gaze, portions of it are fully voice acted. But the voice actors are all other queer and horror authors.
Oh, that's
nice. Which is exquisite. It's very fun. I'm really enjoying it. Read Chuck Tingle's books.
I will check it out.
And also, if you want fantasy, mysteries, and romance, read T. Kingfisher's Clock Tower Wars, Sword Heart, and Saint of Steel series.
Nice.
Because they are very good.
Nice.
Yeah. Something tells me she has a thing for paladins, though. That really does seem to be a connecting thread between these books.
That really is the connecting thread. My sword teacher has been reading a bunch though, and I've just been going like, yes, of course the paladin is reading the paladin books.
Yeah. It's like, I think my favorite one of my favorites so far, the kind of leading romance in this book is to describe in D&D terms, a Oathbreaker paladin berserker multiclass.
Yeah.
And a werebear monk. Nun.
I got updates on that book.
That one's incredible.
Yeah. On my end, I have been part of I get low cost book, like ebooks for like review copies and stuff like that. And so they hit the nail on the head with the recommendation of Sarah Woodbury's The Good Night. And now I am 6 books deep into a medieval murder mystery series.
Nice.
Where halfway through the first chapter, I was going, how slow is the spur and can't they just fuck with the two leads?
Wow.
They were married by the end of the second
After
book.
hours.
The Saints of Steel series is also like it starts off as murder mystery. Each book kind of ends up with a little bit of a different shtick.
Yeah.
The third book is literally just a dungeon crawl, which is fantastic.
Nice.
Not enough dungeon crawls in literature. But yeah, it's very fun. I'm really also I just added The Good Night to my hold list at the library.
Perfect.
So
I have also been reading Christian Cameron's Tom Swan series again because I decided I needed some more good medieval espionage. And
absolutely.
Christian Cameron's historical fiction books, if you did not know by following my Twitter, are really good. They're written by a guy who does reenactment, does harnish fighting, harnish fecton, or he fights in armor. He also does a bunch of historical swordsmanship. So he is the like one person who's like battle scenes and fight scenes do not bother me because he knows what he's talking about and describes everything super well. Like,
nice.
I love good sword fights, and he gives them to me on a platter.
A good sword fight absolutely makes any like sword included media. And a bad sword fight can absolutely ruin it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think T. Kingfisher gets away with kind of doing a fade to black for fight scenes, which I kind of like. I think that that's smart.
Yeah.
Like an awareness that like maybe this isn't my forte. We'll do a fade to black for it. And it works.
Yeah.
So I got something in the mail right before I went to shore leave.
Ooh.
I got Beth's new book.
Very fun.
Nice.
This thing is only like 180 pages. So this is going to be a speed read.
Nice.
Yeah, but I'm excited about this one. She says it's a profane laced book, so I can't wait to see that side of
it's on my list as well. I have not ordered it, but it is on my list of things I need to read.
Yeah, I reached out to her about it, and then I talked to DAW Publishing, and they're like, "Yep, we'll get you on the list, and we'll send you out a copy." So yeah.
Once my brain loops back around to science fiction, then it'll.
Yeah, that was my thing for a bit too. Like I read Defy the Storm and Temptation of the Force, but to me it also felt like I mean, they were really good books, but like I was so burnt out on reading though. Like I felt like I had to like force myself to get through them. And I don't want anybody to, I don't want to feel that way. And I know that you all don't want to feel that way either. But yeah, like I love these books. It's just I need a little variety sometimes.
Yeah.
Hence why I got 7 different books.
Yeah.
This past weekend.
Yeah, that's why I'm like I'm gonna do like a very fantasy binge. I did finally read the Locked Tomb series, which I classify as fantasy, even though it's space fantasy like Star Wars.
It's necromancers in space.
It's necromancers
That's
in
fantasy.
I would call that science
in space
fantasy.
and they're fighting with swords. Like
yeah.
So Warhammer. Because Warhammer
honestly, Warhammer is a very apt comparison.
I guess I'm not. I can't make a lobotomy at Claire's joke, but
I mean, she did get a lobotomy at Claire.
Yeah.
All right.
No context spoilers for the Lost Tomb series.
I haven't even
Lobotomy at
read the book
Claire's.
yet. All I know is that.
Oh yeah, the lobotomy at Claire's is
That's fantastic. I'll go into Claire's the next time and ask if I could get a lobotomy.
I didn't get my ears pierced at Claire's, but I should ask the piercer who did it if she also does lobotomy. That's
Like an ice pick lobotomy.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Volothamp Gatharn.
Chat's probably like, what the hell are these people talking about?
That was a nice Baldur's Gate 3 reference right there.
Ah, nice.
Volothamp actually does pull out an ice pick and slide it around your eye, and
I mean, after this season of The Boys, nothing shocks me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
I mean, they they did some stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not geeking out on much. Mostly Star Wars Unlimited, trying to build a Gar Saxon deck now.
Nice.
Yeah. So trying to do that. I'm also trying to build one around Hunter.
Nice.
Because they added Bad Batch. So
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Hunter, the new season of Star Wars Hunters has begun.
Yes, it has.
Very Empire themed
Yeah.
one.
Mustafar is one of the maps, right?
Yeah, Vader's castle. It
Nice.
is maybe my favorite map in the game now. It's really fun. It's got a lot of it's got a lot of landscape hazards that not a lot of the maps have.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Before we go, Leah, I think I might have shown you this, but I'll show it to you again. Got this week.
Ah!
Yeah.
The Crimson Firehawk.
And
What
guess
a
what?
ship.
It comes with a little RJ.
It comes with RJ, the most important character.
And Nash.
Of course.
Of course it comes with Nash.
Yeah.
We love Nash.
My wife was at Target and she's like, so which Young Jedi Adventures toys do you need? And I was like, all of them? And she's like, you can't have all of them. So which ones? Because I have Nubs in the speeder bike. So she's like, all right, I'll get you Liz and Kai. And then she was like, do you want the Crimson Firehawk? And I was like, yeah, I kind of want an RJ figure because it comes with RJ.
Yeah.
RJ is such an exquisite character. Highly recommend everyone watch the new shorts.
Yes.
That just went up on
I agree.
Star Wars. The Star Wars Kids YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still need to put this together.
Yes, you do.
Yes,
I do. Should we do a Lego build stream, kind of like what Alex and Molly do?
Honestly, could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where like we just sit and chat and I put Legos together.
We can sit and chat. You can put Legos together. I can finish my robe.
Yeah. All right. Is that it?
I think.
God, I make it sound so bad.
I think that's it for what we had to talk about today.
I think that's everything that we had on our to-do list for the evening.
I will say this. Skeleton Crew has me very excited. I can't wait for this show.
I am so excited for it.
Yeah.
It looks fun. It looks cute. What more can we ask for?
We need that after the heaviness that was Andor and after the heaviness of the Acolyte. We do need a fun little romp for a while. Yeah, so Disney, I'm sorry I didn't like your casting of RDJ, but whatever.
You take some, you lose some.
Yeah, Exactly. All right. That's it. Yeah. We will see you all next week, and then we're going to be on another hiatus for a bit because the end of August and most of September is going to be very busy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but we will see you all next week. Until then, fight for light and life. May the force always be with you. Just remember, at the end of the day, we are all the Republic. We'll talk to you later.